and it's still not perfect because I haven't used compression or anything that involves brains on it, and the equalization is hilarious. It looks like a giant roller coaster. It's so bad, but I don't know. You guys will hear it in like 5 months, but till then, just imagine.
If only that were true. It's been, what, 8 months since my last Penumbra video, right? That's longer than 8 months. So it's about time for an update. How have things been? Did you enjoy the Undertale anniversary streams? We got some bangers in the new music department, honestly. I'm a big fan of What's Up and Snowdrift myself.
Max, come on, man.
At around 1:20 there is a reference to the song Doctor from Homestuck in the piano. Sadly the creator of that song passed away, so as a respect to them I will not do any more references to their music in my work. There is no way for me to get permission.
Right off the bat, huh? Yeah. Let's get into it, shall we? So, to brush up on your Homestuck Undertale Deltarune music history, because it's been a year, at least for me, Doctor was created by a woman by the name of Bazunkai, or Usagi, according to other sources, for the webcomic Homestuck. It's a well-beloved track in the fandom and hands down her most popular work. There's this gorgeous, airy quality about it that just makes it an instant favorite the moment you listen to it. I would even go so far as to describe it as hopeful, freeing. And of course, for our purposes today, it's the song that Toby Fox based Penumbra Phantasm off of. If you'd like to know more, you can watch any of the 5 million video essays that have been made about Penumbra Phantasm at this point, or my somewhat outdated feature-length documentary about the subject. I want to state up front that I think it's good that we have confirmation from the man himself that he won't be including Doctor in Deltarune or any of his other projects. I, and many others, had suspected for a while that Toby might not want to use Doctor in his works anymore out of respect for her passing after Undertale came out. I am happy he felt comfortable talking about it, but I wonder if the reason he did so was because he felt some sort of pressure to address it. But that's not the point of this video, and that's not why you're here. The issue, quite simply, lies in a misconception people might have after coming across this information that has sort of become a problem when it comes to discussing these songs. Doctor isn't Penumbra Phantasm. Yes, Penumbra was built off of Doctor, and there shouldn't be any doubt about that, but there are two things off the bat that show Toby is still actively using the song in his works. That being Penumbra, and they come from chapters 3 and 4 of Deltarune. Homestuck songs won't be in Deltarune, my ass. Chapter 3 sees the return of the Holy's lane motif, which comes from Penumbra in Dump. While chapter 4 is wild. And I'm not even going to be touching on the whole, oh, the Titans theme has Penumbra in it allegations, because I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long. You see, to make a very long story very short, I had been theorizing before the chapters dropped that we might be seeing something very specific taking place. A Penumbra Phantasm sans Doctor for one reason or another. And yes, I'm using the word sans in its original definition as without, not as the funny skeleton man for today's discussion. However, it wasn't until one afternoon during a voice call in my Discord server with the Ethical Nerd and a few of my other friends that we made a capital D discovery. One that I have not seen anyone else in the entire internet talk about.
Hello there. Quick question, have you ever seen a hen crow? Roosters are famously noisy, but did you ever wonder why the hens don't also make those loud cock-a-doodle-doos? Did you ever wonder where we picked those words as the onomatopoeia for that sound, even though it's not really that close to the actual sound they make? Do you wonder if the person who came up with the name of cock-a-doodle-doo just wrote whatever they wanted and people went with it because it sounded similar enough? Me neither, but I have often wondered why Penumbra Phantasm's best section is in the second sanctuary, because regardless of why that leitmotif may exist, it, in my estimation, almost certainly does. Hello friends, I'm the Overthinker. This is Forbidden to Forget, a little slice of the internet dedicated to cherishing the stories that deserve it. I'm here to tell you about Penumbra Phantasm and its motivic connection to Deltarune's 3rd and 4th chapter. Subscribe to Ask Error 87, and thank you to him for inviting me to give this presentation. Now music. Leitmotif specifically. There's two important things to know about it. The first is that it's very easy to hear references that aren't there, especially if you're actively looking for them, and the second is that it's very easy to make one or many small adjustments to a motif before it really becomes unrecognizable to the listener. The fact that both of these things are true at the same time means that it's nearly impossible to make a proper argument for or against a leitmotif if you do not understand how music works internally, because the ear test for a leitmotif is only reliable half of the time, which is the opposite of the definition of reliable. So that's where we need to start. Before I begin, I would like to make the disclaimer that everything I'm about to explain to you stems from only 2 years of learning music theory, which means that there may be significant gaps in my understanding. If you happen to be someone with more expertise and identify any shortcomings or misunderstandings with my analysis, then I would be ecstatic to hear them. Until then, everything I'm about to tell you is true to the best of my knowledge. We'll start with the second sanctuary, then I'll explain the theory. There are two meaningful differences between this song and Penumbra Phantasm. If these two elements were not different, the melodies would be nearly identical. These are the rhythm and the key. The rhythm simply refers to how long each individual note lasts. The lengths of the notes are usually arranged into a pattern that is satisfying to listen to, such as the short, long pattern of the legend, or the fast, long swing rhythm of Lancer. The key, on the other hand, is a little more complicated. Essentially, most songs do not use all 12 notes on the keyboard, mostly because they don't sound very interesting together. So instead we make a curated list of 7 notes that all create a particular mood. The most common permutations of these curated lists, or scales, are minor and major keys, which I'm sure are terms you've at least heard before. Minor keys are generally mellow and reflective, while major keys are upbeat or bombastic, generally. Now, what you need to understand about all of this is that the key is named after the starting note of the scale, and there is one for each note. So there is a key of F, and a key of D, and a key of C sharp, and so on, but any of these keys can be major or minor, and whether a key is major or minor has a dramatically greater effect on the tone of a piece than what letter the key is named for, to the point where the key note itself is nearly irrelevant. So when a song is in the key of F major, the fact that it is major is what gives it the quality it has, not the fact that it is in the key of F. It could just as easily be the key of A major instead and be virtually the same. You would not even recognize the difference on a casual listen. This means that Penumbra Phantasm being in a different key from Second Sanctuary is wholly irrelevant, and the fact that they are both in a major key means that this difference is in reality another point of similarity between them. The rhythm, on the other hand, usually does matter. Many songwriters keep a melody's rhythm as one of its most distinctive traits, and hold it as more important than even the notes it's made of. But Mr. Fox is not many writers, and as Andrew Cunningham pointed out in his analysis of Gaster's theme, it's often one of the first things to change when adapting a motif to a new song. You can hear an example of this in the shared leitmotif between Here We Are and Alfie's, visible on screen, if you're curious. What all of this means is that the only two major points of difference between Second Sanctuary and Penumbra Phantasm, the rhythm and the key, are things that can be changed liberally without affecting the quality of the motif, which is probably why people heard this leitmotif in the first place. Knowing this, we can comfortably adjust both the key and rhythm of Second Sanctuary, trusting that the motif will remain recognizable and contain the qualities that Toby Fox deems necessary to constitute a leitmotif, and compare the altered version to Penumbra Phantasm. Transposing it down to F major, keeping the distances between the notes the same, and adjusting the rhythms to be matching, we find that they are nearly identical, except for a single note being shifted down a half step from the original. This can easily be explained as a stylistic choice or a thematic one, since it is now a copy or an echo of the preceding note, which matches the recurring theme of echoes and repetitions in both the Second Sanctuary and its theme song. This leitmotif from Second Sanctuary, since it requires only inconsequential changes to become nearly identical to Penumbra Phantasm, is, I believe, a very, very strong reference. Other than that, there is another less direct but arguably stronger reference to Penumbra Phantasm found in Dump. The song sounds like this. I missed this bit on my first listen of the song, but there are tinkly bells playing high above the droning synths, and those bells play a line that is reminiscent of a particular song. Although that song isn't quite Penumbra Phantasm this time. Instead, we find that it is nearly a note-for-note rewrite of the Holy. All it takes is shifting it into the proper key and moving the last note down by a half step to recreate the Holy exactly from Dump. It's not even necessary to change the rhythm this time. Sometime within 2 or 2,000 months, I will release a comprehensive video of my own on Penumbra Phantasm, which will include a full breakdown of this song. But for now, I will leave this video's analysis slightly non-comprehensive. Essentially, when you first compare the Holy to Penumbra Phantasm, even applying the previous tricks to shift around the key or rhythm, or even a few notes, it's difficult to turn up something that's close without changing too much to still be reasonable. They don't even look that similar on the page. Going note by note, these motifs do not resemble one another. Toby did not just lift the melody into a different song and adjust a few notes like he usually does. But if you're looking for it, you may notice that some bits of the Holy's melody appear similar or the same to other bits of Penumbra Phantasm's melody, like right here, but only in bits. So why? Well, before I tell you, let me show you something. You see, while melodies are generally thought of as a linear series of individual notes, that is not the only way they can be conceived. Alternatively, they can be written in chunks, where each chunk is a small handful of notes with a designated purpose. So this first chunk of Penumbra Phantasm takes this little U shape where it dips down before coming back up. Then to contrast that climb, the second chunk is a consistent downward walk. These chunks can be written in isolation and then strung together afterwards to make a cohesive structure. And some melodies are written with lots of chunks. This is, to my knowledge, a well-established framework for developing melodies that Toby may have been drawing on when writing the Holy. If we believe that the Holy is written from these chunks, then it only takes 2 adjustments once we rearrange them, and then we recreate Penumbra Phantasm exactly. After flipping the sequence of chunks, the final note has been shifted down 1 step. Toby made this adjustment, I think, to keep this ending reserved and preserve the sense of calm established in the scene. Keeping the final note higher than the starting note of a line gives the melody an energetic quality that needs to go somewhere, which Toby probably didn't want. The other adjustment is this first note here has been shifted down a step as well. This one is marginally less obvious to me, but starting the melody with a smaller step into the second note gives it, again, this more reserved quality fitting of the reflective scene it takes place in. In summation, Toby created the Holy by swapping the 2 composite chunks of Penumbra Phantasm, and then adjusting a couple notes to make it sound more natural. I don't have time for the full discussion here, plugging my video that doesn't exist yet, but these minor adjustments to the Holy actually serve to make it more similar to Doctor, as well as what they do for the melody's composition. If you aren't aware of Doctor, go watch Ask Aries' video on Penumbra Phantasm to learn all about it. Also, before we move on from the Holy, even if you think I'm full of baloney, which is fair because sometimes I do, I think this chunking technique is really cool. I would love to see other songwriters figure out how they could reorder the chunks of other leitmotifs into new songs. Just as a random example, this is a sample of an arrangement I made where I shifted around the chunks of Megalovania's melody. I think that could sound cool if it was properly pursued. I don't know. I just feel like there's something really unique to be found here if we wanted to look. But that is my case for Penumbra Phantasm appearing as a leitmotif in Second Sanctuary. dump, and necessarily the Holy. Feel free to leave well-formatted and thoughtful objections in the comments. The rest of this video notwithstanding, I do believe that the concept of Penumbra Phantasm's presence in Deltarune is both debatable and objectionable. There are many forces in and around the game, including the words of the great Delic himself, that would make this entire idea seem dead on arrival. However, I also believe that is an attitude which will lead us astray if it is not scrutinized. If there is some way that those issues could be addressed, then we should be able to say with some confidence that at least a musical analysis turns up with positive results. The academic theory at least supports the Deltarune theory, and there is very much still hope for Penumbra Phantasm to appear in Deltarune. And that is all, from me at least. Thank you. And thank you once again to AskError87 for inviting me to do this.
Thanks, man. We can observe with Dump and onwards with Second Sanctuary that Toby seems to have been making a Penumbra that is both more technically perfect in that it comes back into itself, and that it's more purely original, if that makes any sense. Taking inspiration from Doctor without making it obvious that it's Doctor in and of itself. And I have to say, so far, I really like what I'm hearing. I'll say it again. Doctor is not Penumbra Phantasm. Yes, these two songs will forever share a history with each other, and it's a beautiful, undeniable one, but Toby has made it very clear now that he isn't going to be using Doctor anymore, while still using Penumbra leitmotifs in Deltarune. These two can coexist. They have to. When I say stuff like this in public to others, though, there is this immediate hostility to the idea that Toby might want to continue to derive off of, or even fully reimagine one of his most iconic songs. And I find that, well, alarming. I'm not, and I will never claim to know what Toby's plan for Penumbra is. He could release it in full tomorrow for all we know, or never, and it would be none of my business either way. All I have ever been interested in is documenting the song's history and any appearances we see in later chapters. But when I politely point out to people that they're wrong for specifically claiming that Toby said he'd never use Penumbra again, and that their logic makes no sense in a post-chapter 3 and 4 world, I get called disrespectful and tone-deaf. And believe me, that is me softening some of the things that people have said about me. Do you honestly think I don't understand the weight of a trans person's passing? A trans woman's? A friend's? In this political climate? I'm not trying to erase that, or her accomplishments, or her legacy, and clearly neither is Toby. What I'm trying to make you understand, though, is that there is a very real possibility that Toby might release the song in full without the Dr. leitmotif in it, and the evidence we've gotten from Second Sanctuary alone seems to support that. At the very least, he's still pulling inspiration from Penumbra and doesn't seem to be stopping. I wonder, though, if this misinterpretation of his statement might lead people to be angry with Toby if he ends up including Penumbra in full in a later chapter, which I'm already seeing in some corners of the Homestuck community. It's frustrating. I'm not asking you to change your mind about whether or not Toby will put the full song in Deltarune. That should be reserved for as a fun what if, like theorizing Sans will be the Chapter 5 secret boss, or if we'll ever end up seeing a graveyard Dark World. Which we won't. Probably. What I am asking for, though, is for you to stop getting angry when people like me try to, politely, correct you for spreading misinformation. As accidental and understandable as it might be. The fact is, Penumbra isn't Doctor. And it seems like it hasn't been for a while. I don't know, it just kind of feels like that one fucking "Stop having fun" meme. Insert Homestuck John Egbert, this is stupid. Okay, on to lighter topics now. One of which being that we now know Penumbra Phantasm's exact birthday. How cool is that? One of my Discord server members, Deltarune, helped me do a dive into Penumbra Phantasm even deeper than the one I did for the documentary. And one of the things she was able to find was a recording of an interview Toby did talking about the creation of the song. From the man himself, we're able to get the actual starting date of when he first booted up FL Studio and put it in. February 23rd, 2010.
I've been working on this song on and off for, actually, let's see how long it was between the first version I made of it, Penumbra Reverie. February 23rd, 2010.
Happy, very belated 16th birthday, Penumbra Phantasm. Penumbra Phantasm is legally able to get a driver's license now and drink in several countries. Another slightly less exciting bit of news is that PN is actually in Deltarune itself, so I feel justified in finally telling you all how I actually came to know about Penumbra Phantasm in the first place. It's a long story, and for privacy reasons I don't want to get too far into it, but just know that I was going through this completely horrible time for a bit where no matter what I did, I just couldn't fall asleep. The only thing I could really do was browse the internet, and I stuck to listening to music to try and keep my mind from racing. Otherwise, it would be a vicious cycle of being unable to sleep because I kept beating myself up about not being able to sleep. You know how it is. So one night I'm going through Deltarune songs when I stumble into this song called Fountain, and as of today, still unreleased track that is absolutely beautiful. It's instantly calming. So I set on a loop as I scroll through the comments, and down near the very bottom, what do I find but someone ranting and raving about something called PN and Penumbra Phantasm and how it was all secretly connected. For the record, I, and apparently Andrew Cunningham at one point, have both driven ourselves mad trying to figure out if they are actually connected, and from what I can tell, and apparently from what he can tell, no they are not. Jury's still out on Fountain though. I wasn't instantly hooked at first, but that was it. That was the seed that started me down this mad journey, and it was all Fountain and PN's fault. From there, I went down a rabbit hole that led me to the Homestuck music wiki, and that was where I'd found the Penumbra Phantasm page, and about Null, and a song I never heard before but felt instantly familiar to me. I've spoken about my feelings about Penumbra Phantasm before, but I just can't help rooting and falling in love with something that still hasn't had its chance to shine. No matter what happens, I will be forever grateful for what this song has done and meant to me as a person. Penumbra Phantasm, I will never forget you for as long as I live. And that, dear viewer, is what caused a 2-year-long research deep dive and an hour-long documentary about this one mysterious, fascinating song. How do I feel about being known in certain circles as the Penumbra Phantasm guy? Well, it's not the most embarrassing thing I've ever been called on the internet. The FNAF fandom has already taken care of that. And for other channel news, what is the future of Deltarune videos for me? Well, at the time of uploading this, it's Pride. I'm going to be celebrating by uploading one of my babies. A lengthy discussion about the representation of aromanticism in media. Yes, I am aware this has nothing to do with Deltarune. You'd think that with the dire state of how many characters we have, this would be a short one, but I managed to squeeze out a half-hour video on the topic. God willing, I will also be uploading a shorter video about Tomie from Junji Ito, and after that, who knows? Several of my Deltarune-related projects have been put on the back burner for the meantime. We're waiting for the release of Chapter 5 to either expand on or render bits of information obsolete. No use jumping the gun when we know the next installment is waiting. Don't worry. If you were able to participate in my Gaster poll that I posted a frankly embarrassing amount of time ago, you'll see that come to fruition. Someday. And if you didn't have the privilege of participating, there will be a link pinned in the comments leading to a Google form sitting pretty for you. Papa needs data points. Well, that's it for me today. A bit of a shorter one for you all, but I hope to have something fun cooking in the oven again soon. Until next time, have a nice day, and remember, freedom's just a Penumbra Phantasm for big shots in the world revolving. Bye!